Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see very important articles that appeared in our today's newspaper. First of all, I'll let you know important topics of the day, and later on we are going to see that topics, and at last I'll be giving you prelims practice questions case. Online students, please don't skip this video anywhere. Please do watch until last so that you will be getting lots of insights regarding how to prepare current affairs. Okay, let us see the topics of the day. First one is there is one image about mist. We have to see what is mist and what is fog. So this is a simple basic concept which is there in your geography, and on this concept already UPSC asked questions in your prelims. So here we have to see what is mist and what is fog and what exactly the difference is. And next topic is India's goods exports surged 14% in April to $43.6 billion, says Center. This article is talking about increased exports of our country. So here you have to see data. Along with that, you have to see what are the steps taken by the government to increase exports of our country. So this topic is important from economy from GS paper 3. Our next topic is India's first satellite-tagged Ganges soft shell turtle released in Kaziranga National Park. So this article is talking about one important species, that is soft shell turtle. Here you have to see some facts regarding the turtle. You may get a question on that from environment and ecology point of view. Our next topic is CBI launches AI powered verification system, and the name of that system is Abhay. So whenever you are getting this kind of AI related things, for sure UPSC can ask you a question, and even you can use that kind of things as examples or facts you can include in your answers. That will be a value addition for your answer. And this topic is important from GS paper 2 under governance point of view. And next one here is rupee crosses psychological barrier of 96 per US dollar. So there is a conception that if dollar and US, if you take this dollar and rupee currency convertibility, if $1 is more than 96 rupees, then it is a negative sign. So now we reached that negative sign. Because of this, it is in news. Here you have to see what exactly the reasons for the fall of Indian rupee, and you have to see what will be the broader impacts on our economy. And this topic is important from your economy point of view. Okay, see this image, guys. What can you see here? Himalayas, right? So here, whatever the given here under this image is a snow-clad mountain seen on misty Friday morning from Pulwama in South Kashmir. So here the word mist is given. And if you have seen your basic geography, in your climatology topic, I think you might have heard about fog and as well as mist. Yes. Normally in your winter season, especially you will come across this word called as fog. And if you see your UPSC PYQs, they asked question by comparing fog and mist. And they gave question this format. Consider the following statements. In one statement they gave about fog, in one statement they gave about mist, and they ask you to identify which of the above statements are correct or incorrect. That means this fog and mist are like, they are like same, but there are very minimal differences between this fog and mist, and you have to know that. And UPSC is testing that conceptual clarity in your prelims. Okay, now let us see what is this fog. If you understand fog, if you add something, then that we call as mist. So if you see fog is nothing but whenever we are having an air mass, and if this air mass is warm, if it is containing water vapor, suddenly if the temperature drops, then what happens? This water vapor will be condensed, right? So and it will be forming a cloud. If this kind of cloud it is formed at the low levels of troposphere, then it is called as fog. Are you understanding? In our earlier class also I said how this precipitation happens, rainfall happens, when we discussed about thunderstorms in our yesterday's class. So what I said, whenever this land get heated, air which is present above that will be also get heated, water also get heated and it will convert into a vapor form and it is moving upwards. What happened? Gradually temperature decreases and it will be forming clouds in the upper layers. If suddenly the temperature cools down, then what happened? That air mass which is having water vapor, it will be condensing and it will be forming cloud at lower levels of our atmosphere. Then that is called as a cloud, a fog. Okay, clear? So here fog is a cloud. Fog is a cloud with its base at or very near to ground. Whenever at this surface of the earth, at the ground level, whenever we can see formation of this clouds are happening, then this concept is called as fog. Especially in the winter mornings, you can see everything will be like white, snow like that. You can't, there is a decreased visibility also. You can't see what is there before, especially it will become a problem for journey in the early mornings, right? And because of that also, especially in Delhi area, there will be increased accidents because of reduced visibility because of this fog. Okay, fog is nothing but a cloud. It is located at the base or very near to the ground. Because of this, what happens? Visibility will become poor or zero. That means we cannot see what is there. Then what is a mist? The difference that you have to remember is moisture. In mist, there will be more water droplets compared to that of fog. So because of this, mist will be very dense. Dense means nothing but its weight is very high compared to that of fog because of high amount of moisture in that. That is a difference that you have to remember. On that, UPSC asked a question. Okay, clear? The difference between mist and fog is mist have more moisture than compared to that of fog. So because of this, mist will appear thick and even dense, heavy compared to that of fog. Okay, and mist are frequent over mountains and this fog is seen generally on plains. This is also one difference. In this mountainous areas, we can see mist more frequent compared to that of fog. Fog is seen in plains. And what are the image that I showed is misty day. Why? Because it is where we can see that in Pulwama area, that is in Jammu and Kashmir, where we have mountainous region. Are you understanding here? In mountainous regions, we can see this mist more frequently than compared to the top of this fog. And fog is seen in this plain areas. Okay, the same thing which is given here, that's it, nothing more than that. Fog are drier than compared to that of mist. And mist visibility is more than 1 kilometer but less than 2 kilometers. Okay, now let us see next article. Look at the title, guys. India's goods exports surged 14% in April to $43.6 billion, says Center. Okay, this blue color line that you can see is 2025 data and red color is 2026 data. Okay, clear? So whatever the infographic that you can see here is blue color is 2025 data and red color is 2026 data. Okay. If you see this, what can you identify? Here we have imports, here we have exports, service imports, service exports. That is nothing but these are like goods. These are related to services. One is imports and one is exports. If you see this exports, earlier it is 38.3, now it is 43.6. And here you can see, earlier it is 32.9, now it is 37.2. And here imports had been increased, so keep it aside. So overall this article is saying that when we are comparing these goods and services, there is 14% of increased exports from our country. That is the meaning of this, right? Now you guys have to think why there is increased exports. Is government doing anything for promotion of exports in our country? Do we have any schemes, any idea? Come on, think guys. On that you may get a question. How you can get a mains question is, recently government released data which shows there is increased exports of 14% in 2026. In the light of this statement, what are the reasons for increased exports of government of India? Like that you may get a question. Are you understanding? They may ask about what kind of measures taken by government so far, and you may get this question for 10 mark. That's it. And what you have to write, you have to give the data of Indian exports. If possible, you have to draw this kind of charts. And next, in body, you have to list down what are the reasons. Along with that, you have to give examples of schemes came up by the government for increasing of exports of our country. Are you understanding? Okay, now you guys tell me, what are the measures taken by government of India to increase exports? So first of all, tell me, is that a good sign or not? Whenever we are increasing our exports, is that good for our country or not? Yes. Why it is good? This article is saying that there is increased exports. Now tell me guys, what is the impact? Is that good or bad? Obviously it is good. Why it is good? Are you understanding my question? Online students, tell me in the comment box. What will be the impacts? Huh? Okay. Whenever we are increasing our exports, we will increase our production. That will lead to increased GDP. Accepted. Next. Yes, we can increase employment opportunities. X. Next. Yes, we can increase our foreign reserves. Next. If we are doing better, obviously, can we attract more investments into this sector or not? Yes, we can increase investments. Next. If manufacturing sector is doing good, obviously they have to pay tax. Yes, so tax is a kind of revenue for the government. So for what purpose tax is used by the government? Government is collecting tax. For example, it is collecting direct and indirect, whatever it may be. It is forming a pool of revenue for the government. For what purpose it will use? For what? For government schemes, for implementation of government schemes, that will lead to reduction of inequality in our country or not. We are collecting wealth from rich and we are distributing to poor. Next, in that way we are trying to reduce inequality. And whenever we are targeting certain people, what we are doing there? We are targeting on health, education, skill development, employment opportunities. That will lead to what? Obviously, improving of standard of living of people. If standard of living of people is increasing, we have different indicators like human development index, gender gap index. So in that areas also there can be an improvement. So all these are the impacts. Now you have to tell me, what are the steps taken by the government? Okay, here you have to see the schemes of government. Okay, this article is saying that despite significant headwinds to trade because of West Asia crisis, the value of India's exports grew by 14% in month of April 2026. Even though despite of this West Asia crisis, you know what is happening in West Asia. Despite of that also there is increased exports from our country. That means government is trying a lot to boost our exports. Okay, now let us see the steps. First one is government came up with production linked incentive schemes. What is production linked incentive scheme? It is nothing but what government says, If there is any manufacturing company, let us take this is one manufacturing company that is producing goods. What government says? You manufacturing company produce more. Produce more. If you are producing more, government will be giving incentives like tax remission or benefits to that so and so company. Why government is asking this manufacturing companies to produce more? Obviously, what happened? They can be exported to other country. They will search an alternative. If you are producing something means obviously if you are having the products in our hand, we will try to get the markets. If we are not producing, then what happened? Can we search for markets? No. For that reason, government is encouraging the companies to produce more through this PLI scheme. That is nothing but production linked incentive scheme. That is the first one, especially for automobile sectors and other components, so that we are attracting cumulative investments in this automobile sectors in our country. And this one is government is also providing PLI for bulk drugs. India is very good, very known for pharmaceutical industry, and for that also government is providing PLI so that we are reaching different markets, and Indian pharmaceuticals are like going to different countries and which are like life saving drugs also for different categories of people. That is the second reason. And this one is government came up with one mission called as export promotion mission, and that is from 2025-26 to 2030-2031. Okay, why? Because we want to strengthen our export ecosystem and we want to improve access to affordable trade finance and enhance global market readiness. And one more thing that you have to remember, and students, hall tickets are released. Everyone, have you downloaded your hall tickets? Have you seen where exactly your center is? And see nearby locations. And one more thing is, now this time you have face authentication also, AI based authentication. So last time for CDS students who wrote the CDS students, they faced a problem. What was that problem is, if your face is not identified, you have to wait and you have to again go for face authentication in the afternoon session. If in afternoon session also it is not identified, means they will put absent. Okay, so the thing that you have to do is, you have to, how you gave your live authentication, try to ready in that way so that it can be identified. And next one is, you have to reach examination center at least 1 hour before your exam. If this kind of glitches will happen, means at that time if you are facing tension the last minute, it will be like having impact on entire performance in that next 2 hours. So here the thing here is, be calm and reach your center at least 1 hour before and try to enter into hall before itself. Don't wait till 10 minutes, till 5 minutes I will go. So don't do that mistake. Okay. And next one is, follow instructions which is given backside of your admit card clearly, and which pen they said and which ID proof that you have given there. You have to carry original ID proof also. Okay, see that once. Okay, where am I? So they are focusing on export promotion. And one thing here is, in your examination, if you are getting any questions related to schemes, for sure you will get 3 questions. In that, if you are saying the target year is 2028, 2027, that will be obviously wrong options. Why? Because when we have elections, 2029, no? Okay. If elections are in 2029, will government keep any target in that election year or before elections? No. Think in this way. If we are going to have elections in 2029, if you are having any target in 2028 or 2027, is that feasible? If that target is not reached, then what happens? There will be negative impact on the government or not? So always the targets will be like after this 2029, that is 2030, 2031, like that. So this is also one thing that you have to remember, guys. So this kind of techniques will work actually, because you are writing not a small exam, it is central government exam, no? So they will be saying all those things. whether you are aware about this or not. They will be checking that also. Okay. So if there is any target 2028 or 2029, that will be for sure wrong. It will be after 2029 only. So see that and check whether they give which year. Okay, it is for schemes or any target or any policies. So here also you can see this export promotion scheme is from 2025, 2026 to 2030 or 31. That means after elections only they are having this target. Okay, before elections they won't keep anything, and entire 1 year they will be immersed in that election promotions campaigns, how to win strategy. That will be the agenda of that so and so political party. Then how they keep any target in that 2028 or 2027? It won't possible. Okay, so UPSC will also use this trap. Think that and keep that in your mind. Okay. And next one is this mission is focusing on strengthening of export ecosystem, and government is focusing on improving of access to affordable trade finance, and even they are focusing on enhancing global financial markets. And this one is India signed FTAs. Okay, now you guys tell me with which countries India signed FTAs in this year 2025 to 2026. This will be a possible question in your prelims. Country, FTA signed or CETA signed, they may ask you a question. We discussed a lot. Tell me guys, with which countries India finalized FTA? Huh? With New Zealand. Next. What about European Union? Yes. Next. Huh? UAE. Okay, next. Come on. With Oman we have CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, not FTA directly. It is a before stage. Okay, with 3 areas we had FTA this time. First one is New Zealand, second one is European Union, and last one is UAE. So you have to remember these 3 guys. You may get with which of the following India signed FTA, and they may give you this also, and you have to identify the correct options. UK also. Think once. I'm not sure about UK. So just make down the list of countries with which India finalized FTA 2025 to 2026. It is very important, and you may get a potential question on this because India is trying to sign FTAs with different countries. Why? To improve our trade and to improve our exports. That is the one reason that we can say that also led to increased exports of our country. Clear? And this one is regarding the semiconductors and electronic manufacturing initiatives also. Recently, India gave permission for setup of how many semiconductor industries? 4. In which areas? In which states? AP, Odisha, one more state, Punjab. AP, Odisha and Punjab, 4. In Punjab, I think 2. Okay, so here you have to see about semiconductors also this time. And next one is India came up with a mission called as Semiconductor Mission, and they are focusing on industry-led research, technology, development, skilled workforce creation in semiconductor fabrication, assembly, testing, and as well as chip design. And even government took lots of measures related to our duties also. That is nothing but custom duties. In our earlier class, we discussed about custom duty, like what is import duty, what is export duty, right? So regarding that export duty also, government decrease export duty. If government decreases this export duty, obviously we can increase our exports to other country. That is also one more step. And next one is sector specific export promotion also government did. For example, we have a scheme called as PM Drive scheme, which led to increased exports of electric vehicles and 3-wheelers, 2-wheelers, e-trucks, ambulances, etc. And this one is we have defense export promotion scheme. Recently, we discussed about one important defense equipment that we are exporting to other country. What is that missile name? BrahMos missile. With which country we signed agreement, and with which for which country we already sent this missile? I said 3 countries names. What are those? First one is Philippines. Next one is Indonesia. And third country? Third country. That is why we discussed, no, 2 days ago. South Korea is developed country, no? Huh? Vietnam? Okay. And here you have to remember, with Philippines we signed agreement and we sent BrahMos. With Indonesia we signed but we didn't send weapon. But with Vietnam we are trying to make a deal. Deal is going on. Okay, you have to remember that also. If you are forgetting like that, what shall I do? Okay, next one here is we are focusing on improving of infrastructure and ecosystem development in our country. For that we have Shakti Act and we have chemical parks, rare earth corridors, etc. Lots of initiatives government is coming up related to increasing of exports in our country. Okay, and we have even services export promotion scheme also. For that we have special economic zones where we are improving our trade relations, logistics, everything guys. So these are the steps taken by the government to increase exports from our country. See this next article. India's first satellite tagged Ganges soft shell turtle released in Kaziranga National Park. Tell me guys where exactly this Kaziranga National Park is located? In which state? Assam. It is on the banks of which river? Brahmaputra. Assam, Brahmaputra. Okay, remember that. And have you seen this turtle? What is the difference between this olive? Have you heard about this olive ready turtle? Many a times we discussed olive ready turtle versus soft shell turtle. What is the difference? Shell is different, no? So here for olive readily we have hard. If you see tortoise, it will be like hard turtle, hard carapace. Do you know this? Outer shell will be like very hard. But here it is soft. Because of this, the name of this turtle is soft shell turtle. Are you understanding? Normally what will comes in our mind if I tell tortoise or turtle, it will be having hard shell. Under that head will go if someone is touching that, or yes. But here this turtle speciality is it is not having hard carapace. It is having soft shell. You can touch and it will be like sponge only. Okay, now how can you get a question? We have different turtles in use. Olive Ridley is in use. Leatherback turtles is in use because of Great Nicobar project. And now you can see what is a soft shell turtle is in use. If UPSC wants to give a question or if you wants to make a question, how can you make a question? Now you are examiner and you want to test students and you have 3 turtle species before you. How can you make a question? Think like an examiner. They may give you pair based question, turtle like olive ready turtle, leatherback turtle, soft shell turtle. What is their IUCN status and what is their habitat? Okay. For example, leatherback turtles are seen in Andaman Nicobar region. Olive ready turtles are seen in this Rushikulia, and it is called, and it is famous for this Aribada, that is mass nesting. Like that, they may frame a question. Yes. Okay. If as a whole, if they want to give a question on turtle, consider the following statements regarding turtle. In that, they will ask you about this kind of adaptation of their fingers, webbed fingers, and in which water they will be located, and the movement, migration related things, and food habits like omnivores or herbivores. Like that, they may give you a question on overall turtles also. It is also a possible way where UPSC can ask you a question. So now let us see some facts regarding this turtle. So why it is in use? India's first satellite tagged Ganges soft shell turtle, and it is an endangered species which released into Kaziranga National Park. So here they took one soft shell turtle and they arranged what? Tag with satellite, and now it had been released in this Kaziranga National Park. And now what can we identify? Where it is moving, what is its habitat, and in which time where it is moving, and how much time it is staying in that location. So everything we can monitor now, even breeding season of that turtle, etc. If you are having that kind of data, it will be helpful for conservation of that turtle species. Okay, if you see some facts regarding this Indian soft turtles, they are the one of the largest freshwater turtle, and the name itself is Ganges. Ganges is nothing but river Ganga, rivers or fresh waters, right? So this soft shell turtle is located or seen in this fresh water. Then what about this leatherback turtles and olive ready turtles? Salt water, but this is fresh water. So on that also you may get a question. Soft shell turtles will be located in fresh water. Why? What is the reason? Because there is no hard carapace. So salt water contains different minerals, everything. That will be obviously affecting the skin. Yes or no? If you are staying in a beach for 1 hour, 2 hours, your skin will be getting irritated. Sometimes it will be getting rashes. Is that good? No. So if you are having hard carapace, that will protect this turtle body from that kind of minerals, everything. But this turtles are not having this carapace. So because of this, they will live in fresh water. It is a common sense. Okay. Can you go to beach every day and can you stay in the water for more than 6 hours or 7 hours every day? No, obviously. Yes. And next one here is, if you see the appearance, the carapace or upper shell is round and oval shaped. And next one is, it has long neck and tube like snouts. No need of seeing that. Yes, you have to see this habitat where it is seen. It is seen in rivers, streams, canals, lakes and ponds. And next one here is, they will normally hide under the sand, where these turtles will lay the eggs in the sand only. So many a times this turtle will also go and hide in the sands. And next one here is, we can see this turtle in Afghanistan, India, Bangladesh and Pakistan. If there is any statement which is given that it is found only in India, is it a right statement or wrong statement? Wrong statement. It is seen in India, Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. And it is seen in rivers like Indus, Ganges, Meghna, Brahmaputra, Yamuna, Narmada and Mahanadi rivers. That means overall upper side of our India, that means northern part of our India, we can see these turtles. Okay, and if you see the diets, they are omnivorous. Omnivorous means herbivores, carnivores, omnivores. Have you heard these words? Herbivores means only they will feed on plants. Carnivores, meat eating animals. Omnivores is both flesh and plant eating animals. What about humans? Omnivores or herbivores or carnivores? Omnivores. You have that clarity, right? Okay, and if you say the threats for this turtles, habitat alteration, destruction, poaching, illegal trading, especially for traditional medicines, expansion of agriculture, commercial exploitation. So these are the major threats which is mainly faced by this animal species. And if you see conservation status, they are listed under endangered. Then what about olive ready turtles? Olive ready turtle status. Leatherback turtles. Leatherback turtles are critically endangered. Then what about this olive redling? They are in vulnerable. Check once. Okay, see this next article, guys. Look at the title. CBI launches AI powered verification system Abhay. How can you get a question? Recently, AI based chatbot Abhay is seen in news. What it is? Possible question, ABCD options, and you have to select one. And second type of question is, consider the following statements regarding Abhay, AI based chatbot of CBI. And they'll give you 2 to 3 statements and they may ask you which of the above are right or incorrect. And third type of question is, recently we saw AI based things of Supreme Court also. What is that? Susahai, Abhay and others. They'll give on one side what is it. They may ask you to identify how many above pairs are correct or which of the above pairs are correct. Yes or no? So those are the 3 types of possible questions. If you see PYQs, you can understand exactly how they will frame the question. So these are the 3 possible ways on which UPSC can give you a question in your prelims. Are you understanding? And even you can use this kind of examples while you are writing about applications of AI in our day-to-day life. If you are getting any question regarding AI applications in your mains or even in your essay, if you want to write anything related to AI, you can use this kind of examples and you can expand on that, how AI is making our life easier. Okay. Now here, the major problem in our society is digital arrest. What is this digital arrest? And this can be also a possible question. What is digital arrest? It is a new type of cyber scams or cyber issue. What they are doing? They are doing video calls or calls on WhatsApp or by using any other video call related apps, and especially they are targeting elderly people, and they'll say that we are calling from CBI or CID like that. Then they will try to transfer the money from their account to another account by keeping them on online itself. That is called as cyber arrest, and many cyber attacks related cases are increasing in our country. So because of this, now CBI launched one AI powered verification system to counter this digital arrest. Yes or no? If you are having any problem, obviously we have to solve that problem. If you are not solving that problem, then what is the use of having this kind of organizations like police system, CBI, CID, CVC? Yes? So now CBI came up with one solution to tackle this problem of digital arrest, that is called as Abhay. Okay? So what is this? Let us see this. Okay, who launched this? This Abhay chatbot launched by CJI, Chief Justice of India, and it will provide a verification chatbot. It will enable public to check authenticity of notices. So whenever you are getting any calls that I am from CBI, you have this so and so case, you have to pay this much amount, like that. If someone is calling you, then what happens? Immediately you can open this AI chatbot Abhay, and you can check whether CBI gave this kind of any notice or not. So if we can check that, obviously we will not get anxiety and fear, and we will counter them, right? So here CBI wants to give proper authenticated notice of CBI, and it will be helping people to verify whether they got the call from the CBI or some other fraudsters, whether that notice had been actually released by CBI or not. We can check in this AI chatbot. Okay, so that is Abhay. Abhay means giving some kind of, Abhayam means what in Telugu? Giving some kind of protection. Yes, so I said you one trick, no? Whenever you are getting this kind of words, you have to break down the words and you have to find out what is the meaning, and in that related, if there is any option, you have to check that option. Abhay means some kind of dhairyam, some kind of protection from CBI related to this digital arrest. Are you understanding? Okay, it is a first line defense by enabling citizens to verify their claims before taking any action. That means before transferring of amount to this fraudsters or anything, they have to just verify whether this notice is right or not under this Abhay system. And important aim of this Abhay is to strengthen cyber safety and to enhance public awareness and to provide technological safeguards against increasing of online frauds. Okay, clear? And next article is rupee crosses psychological barrier of 96 per US dollar. Okay, so this article is saying that now $1 is equal to 96.14 rupees. It crossed this mark of 96 rupees per 1 US dollar. So because of this, it is psychologically affecting Indian economy now. So now you have to think what are the reasons why there is fall of Indian rupee value. So this concept is called as appreciation or depreciation. Indian rupee value is increasing or decreasing? Decreasing. Then what is that concept is called as depreciation. So now this article is saying that depreciation of Indian rupee is happening. Now you have to think what are the reasons behind it. Come on, tell me fast. What are the reasons related to this depreciation? First one is our imports are increasing, especially crude oil imports. And second important reason is foreign investors are going out of India because of uncertainties in India. And next one is dollar is becoming strong because of increased interest rates in US. So because of this, they are withdrawing the dollars. Because of this dollar crunch is happening in our country, if dollar number is decreasing, obviously the value will be increasing. That is the reason. And now you guys tell me what are the possible impacts. First one is inflation can happen. Yes, then what about other companies' interest in India? Obviously, they will lose interest and they will try to move out of our country. And next one is our corporate sector will be getting affected the most. And next one here is what about the equity markets? If you want to invest in these share markets or bond markets, obviously it will be affecting interest of investors also. And next one is overall economy will be falling down. That is the future impact of depreciation of Indian currency. Okay, see these questions guys, we have very simple questions today. First one is which of the following conditions favor the formation of mist? First one is high humidity, second one is sudden cooling of air, third one is presence of condensation nuclei. Which of the above are correct? When this mist will be formed, water vapor should be there, that means humidity. And next one is temperature should be increased or decreased? Decreased. That means sudden cooling of air should be there. And where this water vapor will touch and will be forming clouds, dust should be there, right? Next, that dust is called as condensation nuclei. Then what is the answer? 1, 2 and 3. Clear? So if you have understood this geography concept, then it will be very easy to answer this. It is not that much tough question also. So this next question guys, Abhay chatbot initiative is primarily related to. In this way, you will get at least 2 to 3 questions in your prelims. What is it? It refers to what? It is seen in news, what it is, like that. Option A is agriculture extension services. Second one is verification of cyber crime compliance. And the third one is authentication of notices issued in the name of CBI. And third one is artificial intelligence based on weathering forecasting. So what is the technique we studied? If you get this kind of questions, you have to see common words. Can you see any common words here? We cannot see directly the common words. But here it is related to cyber crime and even CBI. These two will related to cases only. So like that, in that too, one will be the answer. Are you understanding here? Because weathering is not and agriculture is not at all. So here these two are like related. Okay, it is related to CBI. These are the important topics that appeared in our today's Hindi newspaper guys. By this I am concluding. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this class, please do hit the like button and please do share this class to your friends. And if you have not yet been subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe guys. And if you want to join our GS Prelims Cum Mains Foundation course, please do contact us on this number 8074765513. Or else if you want to meet me directly, you can come to our office which is located in Ashok Nagar, Hyderabad guys. Thank you so much.